What is going on, guys? This is Versus All Gaming with my review of Tokyo Ravens episode 15, and this episode, it was definitely a good one. We got a new opening and a new ending. Now, even though I do like both of them, I kind of prefer the old opening over the newer one, but I definitely like this newer opening over the old one. Now, about this new opening, I definitely like it. I think it's good, but I felt that they were like really lazy with it, because we see that they reused some of the old clips from the original opening, and I felt like if it would have been entirely new, like entirely fresh, and it had used none of the old clips, then this could have been a heck of a lot better, and I definitely would have liked it more. But because they reused not only one clip, but a lot of them, I felt that they just didn't do it that well. I think that they could have did a much better job with it. But overall, this episode, it was definitely good. I mean, we got a shocking ending, or at least a shocking revelation, so I'm definitely digging that. So the episode starts off with kind of an update, and we learn that the school had basically, it kind of got shut down for repairs, and the students that they're now going to this Meguro district or branch, and they're now training with these pros. And we learned that the Raven code that Doma was trying so hard to steal, it was actually already taken by Natsume's father, so he has it right now. And so we see that Harutora, he's actually training with this pro, and of course he's using Cone, and she's like throwing out this blue fire against this giant mech warrior. And we see Harutora actually tries a new spell, and it was the same spell that Ultimo used during the fight against Doma, where he used those talismans that represented all these gods. And it seems that it was going to work. And I was definitely getting shocked that he was doing this, because we see that the formation, that circle and the star, we see that formation appearing, but then it fails. So the fact that even Harutora even attempted that right there was just freaking awesome. And so after that spell fails, he basically loses the battle, and the pro here kind of scolds him and be rather harsh to him. But then we have Natsume, who actually gets involved, and and offended Harutora, and she even struck a nerve with the pro. And even Toji, he was definitely surprised by that, because we see that even he had to speak a little bit about that. But after their whole training there, we see that Harutora and Natsume are walking, and Natsume was like talking to Harutora, but he was thinking about that fight between Doma and Ultimo. And so they actually get this idea to go to the school, and we see that it's just a mess. It's definitely gonna take some time before this school is up and running again. But when they go there, they have Cone leading the way, and they go back to that altar, and we see that they aren't alone, but there's this girl there as well, and her name was Takiko. I think that was it. And she's this girl that's a student, but she always like refers to herself as being on the path Omino. So as they were talking, she was kind of like revealing so much stuff, and she referred to this altar she referred to this altar as a heavenly altar, and she even knew about the ritual that take place here, even though it was a secret ceremony that only Natsume, Harutora, and their family should know about. So this girl definitely knows more than she lets on. And so we learned that this prep school, it was originally Yako's school, and he left his altar here as kind of his own mark. And so after revealing that, they all kind of got curious about that, and they were definitely more curious about her, but she really didn't reveal much about herself. But then the following day, we have Harutora, Natsume, and Toji. They're all there, and then go to the library because they want to do some research, and they want to look up the past about Yako and the principal, because we all know that those two knew each other, because the principal knew what Yako was like, and he knew the kind of things that he liked as well. So as they were searching for all this rumble, they had managed to come across something that was like rather important. They came across one of the class yearbooks, I think it was, And we see that they found Gen Ultimo in the book, and not only that, but they also found Ryo Saotome, who was the infamous writer that even convinced Suzuka to even come here to the school. So now they were going to pay a visit to Ultimo because him and Ryo, or however we want to say his name, they were in the same class. So of course Ultimo should definitely know about him. But while they were walking there, this car drives by them and stopped, and we see that it's Suzu, and we learn that they actually used this familiar for driving, and we see that there's this kid that was in the back of the car, and you should see that Suzu is actually treating him like horribly. And if you listen to his voice, it definitely sounds very familiar, and even his appearance is somewhat familiar. So this guy is definitely Doma, like no questions asked. It's obvious that Doma definitely wasn't killed. He might have been defeated, but his old body is definitely gone, and he has seemed to be reborn, in a much younger body. So that right there is definitely going to be interesting, and I would imagine now that like Suzu is definitely going to be in control here, because I would imagine that because he's in so much of a smaller body, that he definitely cannot be at his max power, or at least the power we saw when he was fighting Ultimo. So I'm actually kind of glad that like Doma is back, and I want to see what he does now, because it's going to be very interesting to see that. But we see Ultimo, he is still recovering, and the director, or the leader of the Divine Generals, we have the Divine Fan here. He was talking to Ultimo, and we learned that he has this plan to bring out the Twin Horn Syndicate, and that's by cleaning out the school, and by doing that, it should bring them out, not only because of that, but also because of Natsume as well. So we learned that his whole plan revolved around these two things to eventually lead them out, so that they can finally deal with them, because this organization, it's kind of been on the down low since that spirit disaster event like 2 years ago. But we see that the kids are there now. They finally arrive, and not only that, but we learned that Koyoko is actually pretty close with the director, and we have Suzuka, who actually realizes Ultimo past, and how he was also a Divine General, and how his name back then was Shadow, and nobody expected that. But we learned that he kind of gave up that position at being the right hand man to become a teacher. It was because of Natsume. So he did all this, He gave up the position of power he had to protect Natsume, because the principal had went to him, I guess. So it's kind of like amazing how like all this comes together, because we have this organization that we have hardly seen, and we see them now about to come into the light, and then we have Ultimo Pass finally coming out. But I feel that there's a lot more that has still yet to be said. But I'm hoping now that he is around, and I believe that his role in the series is going to be a lot bigger than ever. We'll like see more and learn everything about him. But after after they were like questioning them and learning about what's going to happen, we go to Reiji, who was walking with this guy who turned out to be familiar, and this guy, I believe his name was like Shaver. Reggie treats him horribly, because apparently this guy gets upset whenever his own familiar does not call him master, because we just see that he started beating the crap out of him, and these people were like even recording it. But Reggie had got this phone call that actually gave him a job. So then we see the kids, back at Meguru, I guess, and we see that they're like talking among themselves, and Koyoko, who was actually supposed to talk to her grandmother, she couldn't yet, and now we see that everything is coming together, because this plan is finally about to be set up in motion, because we see that like all of the Divine Generals, or at least the director, he's getting prepared. And we learn that it's now Reggie's job to protect Natsume, because we all know that they'll definitely want her. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Reggie will actually do with this. But it seems that with that X on his head, he also has that seal on him that Suzuka has. but I believe that when Ultimo had like canceled it in the last episode, I don't think it came back. But now that Reggie power has been sealed, I do wonder, why they sent him. Because if he can't fight at his max power, then why would he be there? Like maybe Shaver, maybe he'll do most of the fighting on his own or something. I'm really not sure. But I am definitely looking forward, to the next episode. Because I really want to see, what this syndicate definitely has, like in power-wise. Because I'm definitely interested in him. But as always, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe because that really helps me out. But as always, you gotta take it easy, and I'll see you all next time. Oh, also, that red-haired girl, I am definitely wondering, who exactly is she? Because I really don't think that she's a student. And also, we learned that this Rio Saotome, it's not actually Rio, but it's actually pronounced Suzu. So Suzu is actually, this Rio person that had been so prominent in the story so far. So that right there was like definitely a major shocker. I can't believe I almost forgot to bring that up. So now we're like learning a heck of a lot about Suzu, and I'm actually surprised that like Harutora didn't piece it together that Suzu could possibly be that person. But when it comes to the light, I'm definitely wondering, how they react, because we see that Suzu is this very, very young girl, even though she should be around the same age as Ultimo, because they weren't in the same class after all. And he even said that she was like a hard woman to deal with, and we see that Harutora always struggled with her every time they meet. So I'm definitely wondering, when will he finally realize that? But as always, take it easy, guys.